So, you want to learn about the most frequent intimacy issues that people brought in coaching sessions. Great, I got you covered. Hi, this is Liana, Holistic Intimacy Coach. Welcome to this video. We're going to talk about a bit about the context in which everything is happening and the perspective that I have on things. Then we're going to look at the actual issues, and I have them divided in two categories for men and for women. And third, I have a proposal and an invite for those of you that actually resonate both with the context and with the issues. Okay, so let's get seated. And first of all, the context. My take is that of intimacy coaching, meaning whenever somebody has an issue in their intimate life, first of all, I look at only my field, though sometimes the issue has its roots somewhere else. Okay, maybe in childhood, maybe in everything else that is going on in their lives, the level of, load that they carry and they just can't relax. And then I look at actually coaching, meaning coaching isn't therapy. Coaching means that you mobilize all your resources, soul resources, human traits, character traits, personality traits, material resources, time resources, energy resources. So you mobilize all your resources in order to achieve a desired place, way of being in intimacy, a desired experience, because some people come because they want to have one experience in particular and they need help to build it. Maybe you want to overcome some anxiety issues that you have, and you're already doing therapy, but you also want to do some actual concrete, resourceful work. So in that sense, in the 5 years plus that I've been working, I've had both men and women in coaching sessions, though they were mostly women. I've had people studying also with me online. I've had people who took individual coaching for the long term that also have access to my online programs. Yes, I do that. And they work, on all levels with me. I also did events. Those were really beautiful places, like in-presence events. You just cannot beat those. So in every of these contexts, I've seen people coming with pretty much the same issues. So with no further ado, here are the issues. I'm going to read you because I wrote some of the most frequent ones. I'm going to start with the ladies, and then I'm going to go to the men's issues. So for women, first of all, I'm not sexual. The second one, I don't know what I want. The third, I want to be more hot or more spicy in intimacy. I feel like I will lose my husband, and complementary to that one, there are women who come because they want to save their marriage or their relationship. And last but not least, I want my partner to understand and honor my needs in intimacy. Now, when it comes to the issues that men brought, they want to show up in sex and perform to the level of their expectations. Then they struggle with their partner, women, usually partners, not into it. I don't want to talk, I just want it and women to smooth in. And last but not least, this one is from a Romanian man, actually, who also took long-term coaching. He wanted to learn to hold space for his wife. So we're going to get into a bit of all of these issues. Because this was a video mostly requested by women, ladies, I'm going to start with the issues that men had, because I want you to understand that, well, you feel that you have issues, and maybe sometimes you feel that men don't. Men do too. So the first one is show up in sex and perform. There's a lot of pressure, and it's increasing with all the stuff that is happening out there, meaning social media, a lot of coaches, a lot of people that usually just perform their way into people's newsfeed. All the images that sometimes they're really, really, overwhelming for many people, because not everybody embodies what you see in those pictures, and not constantly anyway. So men have a lot of performance anxiety. and they feel that there's a lot of pressure put on them to be erect super fast, to keep or maintain their erection for longer periods of time, and also to know what their partners want. And ideally, they just know because they're men and because they've slept around, and they should know what works for me too. And sometimes women don't even think in that particular, like, so sharply, but the end result is the same. This is how they feel, that there's a lot of pressure put on them to be in a certain way, to know things. And it's not always the case. Sometimes they'll not have an erection, or maybe it'll be half erect, and it's not that they're old. Sometimes it can happen also with young people. Maybe they can't maintain it, or they just lose the erection at a certain point. Those are extremely difficult for men to deal with right in that moment. So yeah, coaching definitely approaches that, and it's a lot of, it's not therapy. So coaching will help you to look at how you embody yourself and what you in particular have as resources in those moments. It varies. The second issues that men have is that their partners are not into it. And this one is pretty surprising because, well, the images, first of all, that we have is that women are always available. Just as guys are ready super fast and erect, women are always turned on, always wet or lubricated, and they always have these screaming orgasms. So they expect women to, or they think, and they don't understand how women are not always like that, especially if they're young and they look good and they're in the vibrancy of their youth and healthy. How can they not be turned on? So, and it's not that they're judging, they just don't understand. And consequently, they feel that they have to put in a lot of effort and they have to work for heating up their woman. Yeah, heating her up, getting her turned on. And sometimes they just don't have the energy to put in all that work. In the long term, this makes them feel like, well, if I have to work this hard, maybe there is somewhere where something that I can do better or easier. It's not to encourage men to cheat or dump their partners because, well, maybe they need more time to prepare. It's just to point out how they're thinking. And that kind of mentality, obviously there's a correspondence with women, but it's usually approached also in coaching. And you look at realistically what a man can do in that situation for himself. Everybody that comes to coaching, man or woman, looks at and works with themselves. You never work at other people. You work only with yourself. So naturally, in any given situation, what can you do? The third situation for a man was I don't want to talk about things, I just want to smooth into it. I will point out that this is an American man. I think where I live, this isn't really often happening. This man dating would sometimes feel that things would not smooth in like in dates. Maybe a woman would push too much or expect too much, or he would feel that she just needs him to charge in, and this guy preferred things to smooth in. A lot of men are like that, by the way. Talking about perceptions and perspectives, we put this image on a very virile man, a very feral, sexual being, and it's not always the case, you know. We're all people living in a society that kind of cools us down and calms us down, so not everybody's going to charge in their way into sex. So this man was particularly struggling with that, and also particularly struggling with mixed signals from women that obviously that interaction was never smooth. So yeah, a lot of discussion here was had around how you communicate verbally, non-verbally, how you hold your space, and all of that. And last but not least, this one is from a Romanian man, so this is the opposite of what you've heard with the American man. He wanted to learn to hold space for his wife. He was extremely in love with his wife. He is still, so they're still married. He saw himself having children with this woman. He was extremely, committed to the relationship and loved her, beautiful, smart, intelligent, hardworking, all the stuff that he wanted. But she was not sexual almost at all. She would reject his, advances. She would reject sometimes even just in physical intimacy. And he just couldn't understand. And it was driving him nuts. And he was accumulating a lot of anger and frustration for not being able to express with his extremely beloved wife. So in this case, we actually had to work with his anger and all that stuck energy that he had, an unexpressed energy, and channel it, discharge it somehow so that he would relax and get to his wife and actually hold space for her. Because when you're tense and frustrated and all pent up with a lot of stuff that just you couldn't express, there's no room for holding space, and there's no room for understanding somebody else. Because you got too much charge of yourself, of your own. So in that process, actually, his wife, from one week to another, she felt the transformation in his attitude. And she obviously opened up and she relaxed. But it was a lot of work on himself to relax. Now, when it comes to women, ladies, first of all, you don't feel sexual. And I think every woman, yours truly also, will have lived through that. So we don't always feel sexual. There are two main roots here. One is how loaded we are with working. And a lot of women have been conditioned since young girls to work, freaking work all the time. Work through the house, work for school, and when you're grown up for work, just go do errands, go do something. And women are always freaking out about all sorts of things. And that is one of the main roots of them being cut off from their pleasure, because you can't be in pleasure when you're freaking out for all sorts of shit. The second root is your relationship to your body and how you cultivate it. And guess what? A lot of young women are actually conditioned into not really spending too much time with their body. Maybe it's not so beautiful, and there's an entire beauty industry that is built on us feeling frustrated with ourselves. We're too skinny, we're too fat, our boobs are not looking great, our asses are flat, our skins don't look, I don't know how, the hair, it always needs to be perfect, and then makeup. And then as we grow older, we have wrinkles and white hairs and all of that. So all that stuff is cultivated on women for also just to, to get women to do whatever others want. And the downside of it is that women are actually cutting off again from their pleasure and their relationship to their body. Guess what? You have to actually not give a flying psychotic fuck in order to actually enjoy being intimate. Yes, you can't be freaking out about things and also enjoying yourself in physical intimacy and sexual intimacy. And that's one of the things that women have the hardest time to digest and just work through, to process. Another one is, I don't know what I want. And that's, it stems from the root from earlier. They're not cultivating their relationships with their body. And they've been grossed out also from being sexual or overtly sexual or just normally sexual. Whenever there was a woman out there growing up that she had a lot of energy, or she was just showing it, because usually women don't have more than others. Some women just show it, basically. Everybody learned to somehow demonize or cast that woman or gossip behind her back. And consequently, we also did that to our own sexual drive and energy, basically. So it's natural that we don't know how. And here, whenever a woman comes in sessions not knowing how, we actually start to do that really embodied work. Another one is, I want to be more hot and spicy in intimacy. That one usually stems from concerns, worries, a lot of issues with your body, a lot of issues around embarrassment. Maybe you don't want to make some sounds, or you're embarrassed of your natural smells. You're ashamed to be in certain positions or show up in certain ways. Or hot and spicy, you're going to see that those women are not always perfect. And it's not about being perfect. It's not about being like a model in intimacy and the epitome of beauty and expression. The women that are hot and spicy are actually filled with imperfections, but they don't care about them and they don't worry about them, obviously. So they've relinquished somehow the concerns of how they look, sound, smell, feel to touch, impressions that they give, and so on. Yeah, it's a lot of sexual esteem there that needs to be worked on. And you work it in an embodied way, not just in a mental way. You actually have to embody yourself in all sorts of postures, let me just, figures, postures, all that, and be normal and be accustomed to yourself, not really care about imperfections. That's the root of hot and spicy, basically. Two issues here that are complementary. I fear that I'll lose my husband, or I want to save my relationship or my marriage. Obviously, nobody will lose their intimate partner just because of the quality of their sexual lives. At least not with the older couples. With the younger ones, yeah, it's starting to change. But we're not there yet. A lot of people do marry because they care about their partners, not because their partners are perfect in sex or they just show this image of, sexual savant. So people that actually come in this situation is because that there are a lot of other tensions in their relationships or marriages. A lot of those are around chores in the house. Quite a few around nursing to infants and babies and young children. That one is extremely, extremely difficult, and in some situations there is no solution with sexuality there. You just need to take care of your duties as a mother. You need to get help sometimes to maybe have somebody take the baby from you for, give yourself a break from nursing the baby so that you can also nurse yourself. That one is, motherly hygiene, if you ask me. And that means that somebody needs to help you there. Maybe not the father, maybe somebody else. But so that one, whenever women come in coaching sessions with that concern, I usually cannot help them because some things are just not related to sexuality. It's not that they have a sexual problem, it's just that their energy is 101% invested somewhere else. When it comes to saving a relationship, because of other responsibilities, that's something that you can work on, obviously. And usually, when it comes to intimacy coaching, there are very few things that you can do aside from cultivating some habits and actually working on bettering or improving your relationship to your body and how you embody your pleasure and your sexuality. And that's a beautiful work that can be brought in coaching. But other things are just gonna have to, the woman herself will have to do it, meaning cut down from stuff that maybe is not so important, or just learn to do less of the not important things. Save her energy, basically. And last but not least, the issue that was extremely also frequent with women, I want my intimate needs to be understood and honored. And this one is basically, the situation is usually pretty much the same, meaning a woman will request things in intimacy and she will explain what she wants, and her partner seems to get it, but then 1 day, 2 days away, or one encounter or two encounters away from that moment, it's like not happening. It's as if that request never existed or never happened. So in that situation, that actually goes down to communication and boundaries and holding your own space in order to actually get exactly what you request and what you need. It's not playing hard to get. It's not playing the little brat spoiled girl. No, it's actually playing a woman that is conscious of what she needs and what she wants, and will, in a very elegant way, hold her own until her partner gets it, and gets it for good. It actually delivers on that. It's not easy. This one is a different ball game from all the other things that I spoke about. It does go down also to sexual esteem, but it's mostly about communication and boundaries and how you empower or hold your boundaries in an elegant and attractive way, because there are ways in which you can do that that are a turn off and they will push your partner away, And there are ways in which you do that, and they will not push your partner away. And it's also according to your objective. Maybe you want to push somebody away. That's also the case. So those are pretty much the issues that I've had throughout these years. Now, the proposal that I have for you, if you relate to the idea of coaching, the fact that it's a resource and you actually work on the situation at hand, and if you relate to any of these issues that I've described here, then my invitation for you is that I'm going to open up a working group with everybody in the dojo. So you have to sign up. My invitation is for you to sign up in the dojo and also get, for 8 weeks, sessions with me also. Sessions where we do practices live, and you also get sessions, coaching sessions with me. So everybody gets an individual session. The benefits here are that you actually get to personalize your process. You don't just do the practices that I have pre-filmed. Those are extremely handy when you actually want to learn about practice. But you also get to personalize your practice according to your situation, because you get to have me there as your coach, either in group sessions or in 2 individual sessions in those 8 weeks. So if you're interested in that, I will leave my email under this video. The invitation is that you reach out to me and that I send you all the details so that you actually start to work on this stuff. You know, work on embodying your sexuality. No matter what your struggles are, there's always a beautiful approach in working on things. And you're working with pleasure, basically. I don't know any other work that is more beautiful than this one. So that's it. I hope that this video will have helped you get a more clear image of what coaching is and the struggles that people bring. Secret here for you, we all pretty much have the same struggles. The solutions are not always the same, but they are fixable, obviously. So that's it. I will see you in an email, and hopefully you will get to join the dojo and work with us in a group. Bye.